Val, just 15 years ago, China had a dozen international schools. Now there are over 530 English medium international schools catering for about 326,000 students. Val, what is driving this growth?
Well, I think there's a combination of reasons. First of all, there's a growing middle class, simply people who can afford the fees. And there's a demand for better English education for children that are planning to study in Western universities in English-speaking countries. So that's what's mainly driving the demand.
So how big is the international school market? Where do you see it going over the next 5 years?
Well, it can only go one way. It's definitely going to grow, continue growing. Besides, Chinese government now relaxing some regulations that have to do with the establishing partnerships between local and foreign schools. So it's going to become easier. So I believe that more schools will be coming to China, and this market will continue growing. So there's more parents right now who want to move away from traditional Chinese education that is based on memorization and passing exams, and they want to prepare their children for more competitive economy, and they view Western approach as more adequate for this purpose.
Val, you mentioned regulations. What have been some of the regulatory hurdles that these foreign international schools have had to deal with in China?
Well, it's basically have to do with the curriculum. Basically, Chinese children have certain there are certain rules that regulate curriculums, what they can learn, what they can study, things like history. But those things are getting gradually relaxed to the point that more Chinese students will be able to attend those kind of schools with some sort of hybrid curriculum, combination of English curriculum and Chinese one.
Well, according to the International Schools Group, international education in China is one of the most expensive in the world. Fees can hit about $40,000 per year for high-end Beijing and Shanghai schools. Do you think that this is sustainable? Do you see a pricing strategy change, especially with the economic slowdown?
Well, I think prices usually drop when there's oversupply of something, and that's still not the case. I believe eventually what will happen is more different schools that can accommodate different budgets. I don't believe that top schools will ever drop their prices. It wouldn't be a wise strategy from their branding perspective as well. But there's simply going to be more schools, for example, schools in smaller cities where operation costs are lower. They're definitely going to be cheaper. So there will be more choices, basically, for different budgets.
Well, in terms of choice, some of the top boarding schools in England, Harrow, Dulwich College, Melbourne, and Wellington, they've been setting up branches in China. So are the most successful international schools, do they tend to be British?
Well, yeah, British schools are quite popular. I think probably British schools are more active in this market at this point. But there are definitely quite a few American-style schools and Canadian schools. Yeah, but I guess you're right. British schools were more active in this market for some reason.
And Val, who is the teaching staff at these schools? Are they mostly foreigners?
Yes, they're almost exclusively foreigners. There's from all over the world, of course, mainly from English-speaking countries. Actually, a lot of teachers are from Australia. I live in Suzhou, and here we have several international schools, and most staff there are actually from Australia.
Well, these international schools mostly cater to the secondary level or high schools, but do you see that expanding into primary education now that it's proving to be so popular?
It's hard to tell so far. I don't really see this trend. I think it's mostly we are talking about middle school and high school. Primary school, possibly. There's some trend for foreign kindergarten, preschools. We've seen that quite a lot. Primary school, less so at this point.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Val Kaplan, Marketing Director for Camtech Imaging Technologies.